Welcome to the Italian Dolomites, a breathtaking mountain range that has been sculpted by nature's finest artists. Today we are embarking upon one of the most iconic trekking adventures in this region, ALTA VIA 1. Translated as High Route 1, ALTA VIA Uno, as it would be said in Italian, is a classic trail that weaves through the heart of the Dolomites. Spanning more than 75 miles, this high-altitude trek offers an unparalleled experience of rugged landscapes and dramatic vistas.
Hey guys, Tyler here. Welcome back to my channel. I am at the La Pisa bus stop, which means we have completed ALTA VIA 1 here in the beautiful Dolomites of Italy. We did this hike in 7 days with my friend Trevor and Zach. It was an amazing experience. In this video, I'm gonna highlight the camping spots we found along with the Refugios that we stayed at and offer you some tips so that you have an amazing hike like we did. All right, let's take you back to the start of this hike where this journey began at Lago di Braies.
Lago di Braies is renowned for its emerald green lake and enchanting surroundings. We arrived the afternoon before our hike to take it all in and relax along its peaceful shores. We found a beautiful meadow on the southwest corner of the lake to make camp for the night. Bonus points, there were toilets just a short walk away. Overnight, we experienced thunderstorms and rain, but otherwise woke up feeling refreshed and ready to take on the challenges that lay ahead. The first 4 miles of ALTA VIA 1 are all up. From the 4,900 feet elevation at Lago di Braies, you ascend more than 2,900 feet to the first pass of the hike for Cella Sora Forna. Just below the pass is the first refugio along the trek, Refugio Biella. There are more than 20 refugios along ALTA VIA 1. These mountain huts provide cozy lodging, delicious local cuisine, and cold beer. You can also use their restrooms and electricity. For lunch, I had a salad with speck. Speck is a type of cured, lightly smoked ham unique to the Dolomites. Fed and recharged, we pushed on a couple more miles to Refugio Senes. By that time, we were ready for afternoon beers. Senes also had a water fountain we could fill our bottles at. Many of the refugios in the Dolomites warn that their water is not potable. For this reason, I highly recommend bringing your own water filter. But if you prefer, you can buy bottled water at these refugios. A liter of water costs between 2 and 4 euros. If you intend to do a hut-to-hut hike, Refugio Petteru could be your stop for the night. We grabbed an ice cream here, but then continued on to a camping spot I had marked while researching this hike. Lago Picadell was a good campsite because it was off the trail, secluded, and had a clean water source for us to filter our drinking and cooking water.
Butternut bout. Okay, Zachary?
In Italy, only the beef pasta marinara.
Yeah, what do we got here?
We got
Cheesy chicken and broccoli.
This is probably a good time to tell you that wild camping in Italy is not legal, but there is some gray area to the law, and if you pitch your tent after sunset and take it down before sunrise, you shouldn't have any problems. There are plenty of others camping along ALTA VIA 1, but I do encourage you to do your own research on the topic if you intend to wild camp in Italy. Our first stop on day 2 was at Refugio Fanis. This would also be a great first night stay if you are planning a hut-to-hut hike. Remember that reservations for Refugios are extremely difficult to get and must be made well in advance. I'll provide more information on how to make Refugio bookings later in this video. Elevation. There's a lot of it on the ALTA VIA 1, about 24,000 feet. That's a bit more than 7,300 meters. Each day you are going up and down about 4,000 feet, which is definitely a challenge whether you're carrying camping gear like we were or going hut to hut with the day pack. If you want to travel ultralight, you can use a service that will transport your gear from one refugio to the next. The approach to the pass at Forcella del Lago is steep, but it's even steeper on the way down. Once you pass Lec de Legacio, the trail once again continues up, this time to the highest point on the ALTA VIA 1 at Refugio Lagazui. Some ALTA VIA 1 routes will bypass Lagazui, but I highly recommend you make the ascent up. Along the way, you will get to see tunnels that were created by Italian soldiers during World War I. Imagining the views from their eyes is humbling to say the least. Many people died here, but it is said that many more died from the cold, harsh winters than did in combat. There is an option to follow one of these tunnels all the way down the mountain. For this, you will definitely need a headlamp, and a helmet is a really good idea because you're bound to hit your head. You can even send your backpack down in the gondola and pick it up at the bottom. Now, if I were to ever go back and do this trek again, I think I would definitely want to book Refugio Lagazui. I can only imagine catching the sunset and sunrise views from this location. The sauna is also a great amenity. The last gondola down from Lagazui departs at 5 p.m. Now, in the hikes I do, I would generally never take a gondola or any other kind of transport. I feel like it's cheating. But I'm also a team player, and the guys really wanted to skip the steep descent down. Thus, we took the gondola. It is a bit pricey, 21 euros. When we got off the gondola, we made our way back towards the trail, but not before stopping for another pint of beer at Refugio Col Gallina. Here we ran into some British friends we had met earlier in the day along the trail. They too were tent camping the ALTA VIA 1. Unfortunately, one person in their group had decided to end his hike here. The physical demands of ALTA VIA 1 aren't for everyone, and given the large amount of elevation gain, this definitely should not be your first multi-day hike. The Brits joined us in search of a camp spot for the evening. We came across an excellent spot, but it could only accommodate a couple tents, so we let them have it. We pushed on the trail just a bit further with another group of campers and located an excellent spot that even had a clean water stream right by it.
Well, it is our third morning here on the hike, and last night was one of the scariest camping experiences I've ever had. We found what I thought was a good spot here, and for all intensive purposes, this is a nice camping spot. We found some flat areas, and there's water right by here. However, around midnight, some wolves joined us and woke me from my sleep by biting through my tent, kind of bit my foot a little bit through the sleeping bag, which it didn't puncture the sleeping bag, but he did puncture my sleeping pad. And so for a while there, I was sitting on the ground and I noticed one of my shoes had been pulled out of the vestibule, and I could just feel the presence of multiple wolves around. So I made some noise and got rid of them, but I was able to patch the sleeping pad, and somehow it still has a slow leak, but I'm getting about 2 to 2.5 hours before I'm laying on the ground. I'll probably take a better look at it today and see if I can get a better patch. And then as far as the shoe goes, I thought that was going to be the end of my trip. I could probably sleep on the ground with a busted pad, but you definitely have to have shoes for this hike. And thankfully, when I got out this morning, I found my shoe just a little down the way, and it wasn't torn up, but it was damp because it was also raining last night. Yeah, never had that happen. So definitely consider there are wolves out here.
There are both wolves and bears in the Dolomites. Fortunately, that would be our only encounter with these animals, although it definitely did keep us on edge the rest of the nights that we camped.
Easiest hike in the world.
Day 3 went much the same as days 1 and 2. Steep ascents and descents, stopping at Refugios along the way to enjoy the finer things in life like cappuccinos and pastries. When we arrived at a stream, we agreed it was time to freshen up. A cold plunge and fresh clothes had me feeling like a new man. The campsite we found on day 3 was just past Refugio Città di Fiume. If you stay on the trail for about a quarter mile past the Refugio and then hike up the steep hillside to your left, you will find this spot, which was able to easily accommodate our group and a group of 3 hikers from France. Day 4 started off a little muddy. After a short climb from our camping spot, we joined Sentiero Flaibani, which is a variant of the ALTA VIA 1. This variant is quite strenuous as you have to scramble between and over large boulders. After a while, it gets better and approaches a section aided by thin cable. This cable is to help you get over the polished rock, which isn't difficult in dry weather. The route is very steep all the way up to the pass at Forcella Val d'Arcia. The path down from Val d'Arcia is also steep, and you will be challenged by the loose scree. There is another section of wire ropes to help you get across the steep mountain face. After a challenging morning hike, we arrived at Refugio Venezia for a delicious lunch. We all took the recommendation from the waitress and ordered the gnocchi.
That's good. What are these things?
Sometime after lunch, we passed the halfway point of the ALTA VIA 1. We then came to Refugio Pelmo. Next door to this Refugio, you will find the only market along the trail. The selection is limited, but if you're camping, it's a good place to stock up. Leaving Pelmo, it's all uphill to Refugio Coldai with some amazing views along the way. We arrived to Refugio Coldai in the late afternoon and decided to stick around for dinner. From the recommendation of our new Italian friends, Milo and Gabriele, I tried the polenta with venison stew. Very tasty. Meanwhile, it began to rain and thunder outside. It turned out that the Refugio had several cancellations and there were enough beds to accommodate our entire group, which was now 5. So we had the option to continue onward to Lago di Braies in the rain or sleep in a bed. Beds won the vote. The next morning I even had a hot shower. The next morning it was just a short hike over the pass to Lago di Braies. As you can see, there were plenty of campers here, and this would have been an excellent place to pitch our tents had it not been storming.
Well, that polenta deer stew I showed you last night was really tasty, but it didn't sit so well in my stomach. I've been up since 4 a.m. and today's been a rough day. Usually my stomach is really strong, but I guess it just goes to show those things can happen. And yeah, I'm just trying to get rehydrated and I'm starting to feel a little better. So hopefully we'll be able to power through and get some more miles in today. Alright, so we are headed up a steep ascent now, and it's middle of the afternoon, so it's pretty hot, but we just got into this forest here, and there's two really nice camping spots, and it's near water, and I also get cell signal here, so I'll mark them here to help you guys out if those spots interest you.
The main challenge with ALTA VIA 1 is that you're always going up or down, and oftentimes it's very steep. In addition, I found the trail to be very rocky, which makes it a challenge to find good footing and definitely slows the pace. Now, I always do these treks in trail runners, but the argument for hiking boots with better ankle support can definitely be made for ALTA VIA 1. When we arrived at Refugio Corestiato, they had 3 beds available. For 68 euros, they offer half board, which means a bed, dinner, and breakfast. Now, to be fair, I'd rather chance the wolves and be alone in my tent than sleep in a poorly ventilated 10-bed dorm. But we once again tried Refugio. If you are going to stay in Refugio, definitely pack the eye shade and earplugs.
But at some point they should be available. The toilets are here, 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
All of them, so there is a shower with a coin machine. You put.
Gracias. You guys try some lasagna. Okay. I'm so glad that I didn't get the lasagna and the grilled cheese though.
Oh, it's actually tastes just like cheese.
It is another beautiful morning here in the Dolomites, day 6 of what should be a 7-day hike. We have just 20 miles to go, so hopefully we can knock out a bit more than half of those miles today and make tomorrow a little easier.
When you reach Refugio Tome, the ALTA VIA 1 joins the road for about 1 mile. It seems odd to walk along a road, but the gradual downhill on pavement is definitely much nicer on the legs. Then it's back to the grind, hiking uphill through a forest until you are once again above the tree line. Along the way, we came to Malga Mochusin. I had this place marked as a potential campsite, and it's definitely a great option. This abandoned farmhouse serves as an emergency shelter that can be used by anyone. You're allowed to sleep inside the shelter, or you can just pitch your tent in the surrounding field. As a bonus, it has clean drinking water, though I'd probably still filter it. One mile further, you will arrive at Forte di Forcella Mochusin, which is definitely worth exploring. Built in 1900, the structure served as a defensive point and housed a platoon of Italian soldiers. The last big ascent along ALTA VIA 1 is over Van de Zita. I had some moments of concern as it looked like we might get lightning as we neared the summit, but fortunately the weather calmed and cooperated. Our last campsite was in the woods about a half mile past Refugio Fontana.
Morning, Trevor.
Good morning.
I enjoyed our campsite in the woods, but had we wanted to push on a bit further, we could have used this spot, or had the option of another shelter just a bit off the trail.
Yeah, that'd be good. Okay, guys, so we have talked about camping spots and some of the refugios that Trevor and Zach and I were able to just roll up and get a last minute bed. But if you want to do ALTA VIA 1 and not carry a 30+ pound backpack with a tent and a sleeping pad and sleeping bag, you have to really be on your game to book the refugios far out in advance. And I've got the chance to talk to a few people how to do that. And here with us now is Carly, who is Australian, currently living in London, and she booked all of these refugios well in advance after doing a lot of research. And here's how she did it. Action.
So I first looked at the ALTA VIA this time last year, booked my route, planned out my route from start to finish. Then I found a couple of self-guided tours online, and they had the names of all the refugios, the distances between them. So I went onto the websites of each individual one, emailed them all, found out where their bookings came online for summer. A lot of them come online in February, March, some as early as November the previous year. But it's all had to do that across 8 of the refugios that I booked. And then it was a case of setting my alarm, figuring out which days I needed and which dates I needed. It was very, very nerve-wracking to make sure that I booked the right date for the right refugio. And then, yeah, pretty much all smooth sailing so far, and I'm on my way out.
That's exactly it. She has made it. Last day here on the ALTA VIA 1. Yeah, it can be done. You just really have to be on your game to get those bookings.
Refugio Bianche is the last refugio on ALTA VIA 1. Here they have the bus schedule posted. You'll notice there are fewer buses on Sunday. Our original plan was to make it to the bus stop for the 13:20 departure, but we realized we could probably be there for the 11:42 departure if we kept a decent pace. After all, the rest of the trail was all downhill.
So what did you enjoy most about the hike?
You know what I'm gonna say about this? The Refugios and the Vias.
What did you enjoy most?
The beautiful Dolomites.
Okay. And what was the least favorite part?
The humidity.